Hello folks, this is Faustin Frank here, and in this video we're going to examine the Class 1 Medical. Hello my fellow pilots, this is Faustin Frank, and in this video I wanted to discuss the Class 1 Medical. This is a medical examination that every aspiring pilot must go through, and even if you're just going for your private pilot license, you'll have to do at least a Class 2 Medical. Now with any medical, there's a procedure and a place and I know how I have to go about it, and of course there's a price, and this is what I want to break down here. So first and foremost, what is a Class 1 Medical? It's very simple. We expect our pilots and ourselves to be healthy during a flight. We want us to be not too overweight, not colorblind.
Esparciendo su dulzura azucarada por todas partes. Los pasajeros no podían creer lo que veían.
Have good BMI. So this is a thing that takes place once a year. You have to do this once a year. It's probably sponsored by your airline, and they will put you through it. Or if you're a student, it will come out your pocket. I believe after 60, you have to do it every 6 months. If you're before 30, it's every 2 years. So first and foremost, again, like in my previous video, I wanted to tell you that first and foremost, you have to evaluate your own health. You want to go in there knowing that you don't have obvious health problems that will stop you from becoming a pilot, because there's just no point in doing it. There's no way getting around that really. For example, these being, if you're colorblind, if you have problems with your depth perception, or if for example, if you're heavily overweight, you just can't be a pilot. Even if you're too tall, you have to fit in the cockpit, vertigo, such things like that. So first and foremost, do that, evaluate your own health, because like anything else, this costs money. You don't want to throw money down the drain for nothing. So, and the second thing I want to get into is your location. Who licenses? Who is the license? Who qualifies your license in your geography? So, or in your location. So this is very relevant to people who maybe live in Europe but want to work in Britain, or in Britain who want to live in Europe. Of course, in foundations it all comes down to where you can work, because you can apply for a EASA medical, but if you can't work in Europe, there's not much point. And vice versa, if you're a European citizen without a UK passport, there's not much. You can, of course, do a CAA Class 1 Medical, but there's not much point because you can't work here anyway. This was very relevant to me when I was going through this, because this is exactly when the whole Brexit thing was going on, and I kind of had to decide, and even to this day, I kind of had to make a decision, an active decision because I have dual citizenship with EU and UK, so you actively have to decide, okay, which route you want to go down and where you see yourself flying in the future. Now, the price varies extensively. I remember when I went to London in 2022 to get my Class 1 Medical, it's £600. That's right, just for a Class 1 Medical for a few hours of checking out your health is £600. Now I'm going to do it in Greece, or at the release of this video, I've done it in Greece, and it's £200 or €200. So it depends where you go, but I think it really depends on how much the doctors make in that country that you're doing it in, because essentially the medical itself is the same. It has to be the same in order to keep to a high standard. So you can't really just, sorry, pardon me, it's just my chain is making a lot of noise. So you can't really, there's no really getting away around this. You are going to get a full medical. Now first, what do you expect when you go in? Well, first off, the doctor's going to sit you down and going to register, see if you have been, if you've done a Class 1 Medical before, or are completely fresh to it. And then the second thing is you'll wait, like if you were going to a doctor, and then you go in. The doctor will ask your medical history, basically how's your general health, how often do you exercise, is there any a history of diabetes or anything like that in your family that could impact in your future career in aviation. Are you on any medication that may impact your ability to become a pilot, or to to have a longevity in your career. So again, this is all before you actually start the medical, and this is why I say to you, you have to adjudicate your own health before you go into this. So the first thing they'll do is they'll do your eye test. Now, contrary to popular belief, I can't emphasize enough, it's not the case that you can't wear any spectacles or glasses or anything like that. It's the case of, especially because you're not a fighter race, so you don't necessarily have to have 20/20 vision, color blindness and your depth perception, and if you have any vertigo or if your eyes have problems with basically tunnel vision, and it's something that's the really important part. And then what they will do is they will check for your cholesterol levels, they will check for basically your hemoglobin, they will check your hemoglobin. They'll check this because if you have high cholesterol, this could impact your heart. You don't want to risk a heart attack in midair. Again, this can also be based on your general health, but they have to do this to check your, because you could be very thin, but you could genetically be positioned to have high cholesterol or too low cholesterol, or maybe a very low hemoglobin, which basically if you have low hemoglobin, it's another way of saying you have low iron. This could make you dizzy, hungrier than usual, and and stuff like that. And they will obviously also check your blood pressure. They don't want you to have high blood pressure. Again, this could lead to many things that could impact your nervation, strokes, and again heart attacks. Then what they will do is, so once they get this out of the way, they will test your lung function. You'll basically have to blow into like this tube and see how long you can blow into it. When I done it the first time, I thought they were gonna take an X-ray of or a CAT scan of my lung. I'm not sure which one it is. I'm not a medical professional. Basically an X-ray of your lung. That's what I thought, and I thought you're gonna look out for like spots of cancer and what have you. But no, they're actually just checking your lung function. The next thing, and they will also take a urine sample. I think that's for just to see basically the functions of your basically organs and other such things. If you're too alkali, too acidic, stuff like that. Again, I'm not sure. I'm just going through the procedure of what they're gonna check. I remember this being checked on me. They took a sample of blood, urine, and this. And then, interestingly, they will put you into a soundproof little cabin. It's like a little cabin where there's gonna be like a little soundproof, and it's basically with a little chair in it, and they will play a little like a note, like is it D sharp, E sharp, and see if you can hear it. And progressively, they will get louder and more clear. And then you click a button to see if you heard it. And then back to the eye exam again. Basically, they will also do, and I know I'm going a bit here and there, I'm just going off by memory what happened, because the last time I've done this, because at the recording of this video, I haven't done my second class for medical yet in Greece, but if I released it, that means I've done it. So I'm just going off by the one I did in London a couple of years back. I remember doing the dot test with my eye to see your peripheral vision, to see if you can see the dots, and again, you click there. And when you hear the notes in your ears in the soundproof chamber, you will also click if you hear the sound. And this is again because obviously as a pilot, you're going to have to rely on good hearing because of radio communications. Next, they will hook you up to an ECG machine. This is to measure your heart rate and the beat of your heart to see if there's anything off with, or there's any irregularities. Do you have any basically irregular heartbeats or anything that's to look out for. Now, interestingly, when I've done this, it turns out that I had a slightly irregular heartbeat. I never even knew about it, and I remember they had to hook me up to this machine, to the ECG, a good couple of times. They were like, oh, maybe I put it on wrong, let me try it again, let me try in a different spot. And I was like, okay, what's going on? I was like, oh God, here we go, this is me not getting the license. So basically, they said, okay, look, if you weren't going to be a pilot, you wouldn't even care. It's not the case that your heartbeat is not healthy, it's just not in the normal in terms of the population. So we're going to send it away to a specialized cardiologist who will take a look at it and deem if you are fit enough to be a pilot. The doctor said, look, it's not, again, it's not that you're unhealthy. Going by your stature, your lifestyle, and what you tell me, you're a healthy guy. and he asked again if there's anything that I can't do in terms of sports, and I said no, I can do zone 2, zone 3 cardio with ease. I can go a good 15 minutes at 140 beats per minute on a treadmill, so no problem. But he said, okay, we'll send that away. Again, this is not something we would note if this was just a regular checkup, but because it's aviation, we'll just look up. So even if you get something that's maybe alarming to them in regards to your eyesight, your organ functions, your whatever, just because you're not perfect and they want to send that away to a specialist, maybe in the field of where you have these issues, that doesn't mean you're disqualified. It just means that this is a general doctor who's not specialized in that specific problem, and they will send it away to a specialist. And in fact, a week later, the cardiologist got back to me and said, no, here's your class 1 medical, just we'll keep an eye on this, but here you go, here's your license. Yeah, so again, overall, just because you may, even if, like, look guys, they'll check your health, but they also have to be practical about it. If they wanted a perfect specimen human being who has never had diabetes, has perfect lung functions, perfect heart, perfect this, perfect everything, perfect eyesight, and on top of this, all the challenges that people already face to become a pilot with the financials, with the studying, then we would have even less pilots than is already needed, and nobody would fly ever. That is to say that it's not that they don't care about your health, they clearly do, because they're not going to put people into trouble or jeopardy. But the fact of the matter is they have to be practical. So they'll keep an eye on you. If you have anything that may potentially be abnormal, they'll just send that away to a specialist and see if this is a big problem. Could this become a problem in the long run? And they'll just keep an eye on it. And obviously they'll trust you to self-report as well, just in case, because that is your job. You don't want to fly if you think you have any hesitations why you shouldn't be flying. So that being said, don't panic. I know it's very scary to get to go in and your whole dream riding on this thing, saying that, oh, I wanted to be a pilot, I just want to pass perfectly. But don't panic. Just go into this thinking that, okay, I'm here for my health. It's a doctor appointment. If I know I'm fine and I've done my face value evaluation, I'm gonna pass. And if there's anything, it just means they're looking into it closely. And this is a good thing. Keep in mind that you're paying for a service, especially if you're just going into this pilot life. You're paying and you want to know if you're healthy. And in fact, I would go further. And because it's as detailed to get a class 1 medical as a very detailed thing to do. However, they don't check for like something like, I don't know, which I think is important, like bowel issues, specifically looking into your digestion, nerve issues, anything like that. Could if you're sitting in a cockpit for a long time, I would want to know if I have potential nerve issues that would stop me from sitting for a long time, bowel issues, any other issues that could potentially come up and hinder my success in a long career as a pilot. So I would go stepping beyond, and once you've done your class 1 medical or before that, I would just even go to I would even pay for your own personal checkup with a doctor and say, look, I have this ambitions. Now I am going to go for my class 1 medical, but obviously they just check what they have to check, and then just do even a more special analysis. For example, I went to Budapest last year, where they got my blood work, they got my urine work, the doctor checked my skin. I'm going to test for my nerves, I'm going to test for my digestion. Because these are all things that will impact you during your life, especially if you have a setting and you're going to go up in altitude, down in altitude. And it's not the hardest job, but it does have its stresses. And this is the things I would just check for, really, just to get your own peace of mind as well. And obviously, when you go to do your class 1 medical, and you will test your hemoglobin and your cholesterol and your blood pressure. But for example, when I went to Hungary to do my own separate checkup, they check for vitamin D level, stress hormones, again the hemoglobin, the cholesterol, the good cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, how is every organ functioning, Again, the heart rate, they did an x-ray of my lung. They don't do an x-ray of your lung in the class for medical, as far as I know. I never got that done. So yeah, I would actually go a step further. I want to be sure 101% that my health is going to be there for the next 15 to 20 to 25 years of me flying, because we're going to put down 50, 60,000 pounds to become pilots, and I would not put that down if I knew that my health may fail on me in the next 5 years. I at least want to get 10 years out of it, my money back and then some. So yeah, I would do that, folks. So again, to summarize, go in there. And you're going to be nervous, no point telling you that you're not. Go in there, do the best you can, be as calm as possible. Make sure you check that who's your license, what country is going to be the one that gives you the license. Is it the country that you want to fly in? Is it the country that you're going to train in? Because if you're going to fly in the EU, don't get the CAA license from the UK and vice versa. Try to make sure you get the cheapest option. I'm going to do in Greece this year, and with the flights and the accommodation, it's still about £200 far cheaper than doing it in London. So again, and guys, if they find something that you didn't know about, don't panic. It's life. It is what it is. If the worst scenario comes through and they won't give you the class for medical, you can always get a second opinion. But if it's no, it's a no. You don't want to put yourself and people at risk. I know it's a very tough pill to swallow, but most likely what it is that just they need to send it away to a specialist who will make sure that this is not going to degenerate or is going to in fact impact you. This is just a specialist. This is what happened to me. Okay, folks, so this is Faustian Frank. If you have any questions, please, you can ask them in the comment section below. And for more videos, please subscribe.